thing. Yes. So I think firstly I will start. Firstly, I will start with motivation first. Yes. So as we previously had stated, we must ask the questions before doing any type of dharma deed, right? We must ask why are we doing this dharma, and the motivation basically is from a Buddhist point of view. It is for all of the sentient beings to attain happiness and attain enlightenment, right? So during this time, during this pandemic time, a lot of people are suffering. So our motivation can be to motivation can be to uh, get help all of the other. We are doing this dharma practice for the sake of the other beings that is suffering from this pandemic, not only the other beings who are suffering from this pandemic, but all of the others, right? All of the sentient beings being rid of this pandemic, right? So, and that can be our motivation. So yes, it's in landscape mode. Oh, I didn't know that, because right now I'm using from the laptop. Okay, so that's the thing. Yes, that's the motivation. That's the motivation part, and I hope that, of course, for the sake of other beings, for the sake of you being liberated, that's the motivation that we should have before listening to any type of dharma, right? So today I will be talking. We had have previous three sessions. The first was the overview of what we are going to talk about, and today is the and the second session was about compassion and how compassion works about, and the third session was about karma and how to reduce anxiety, right? So today, yes, I don't know the way the camera is. The camera is really uh, at the top, so it feels as if I'm looking somewhere else, right? So that's the thing. So these are the topics that we have been through. So today, the topic that we will be going to talk about. Today, the topic that we'll be going to talk about is uh, how to meditate, right? Meditating at home, right? So previously, what we have talked about, um, impermanence, karma, and compassion. When you practice all of this, it is a type of meditation, right? So, firstly, when going to today's topic, I will be talking about. Uh, I'll be talking about 5 parts, maybe in 5 parts, and yes, I'll be talking about it in 5 parts, and yes, there are a lot of stray dogs here, so they bark a lot. Yes, the sound. Yes, the sound is my voice clear. Yes, the barking sound. I can't do anything about it. Right. Yes. So I'll be talking about meditating at home to five five different subsets, I think. Yes. First should be the introduction to meditation, and the second, preparation for meditation. Third, understanding that good meditation comes from good ethics, and the main part on meditation, right? The main part on meditation will have 2 parts about uh, what do you call, beginner, for the beginners and the advanced, right? So that's how we will be we will be going through this. We'll be going through this. We'll be going through this topics, right? So for the introduction to meditation, firstly we must know what are the benefits of meditation, right? What are the main benefits of meditation? So the thing is that we all want happiness, right? There's no difference in that. Everybody wants happiness. Everybody wants happiness, yet very few of us really seem to find it, right? Like uh, we seek happiness, and we are looking for happiness from external things, right? From external things like going out with friends, and maybe going out for a hike, and maybe going out for camping, and all of these things, right? So so these are the types, right? These are the happiness that we think, and we buy comfortable chairs, we buy comfortable beds to sleep on, and so on. We when we seek when we seek happiness, we usually seek happiness from the external way, right? We seek happiness from the external way. So so yes, so from that there is a problem that we are facing, right? Even though we have all the luxury items and the luxury things, we are not satisfied, and we still are unhappy. We still are unhappy. So that points towards a problem that is not caused from external factors, but from the internal factor, right? So when we think like that, the internal factor, uh, when the internal factor is causing a type of unhappiness, then whatever we do from the external will not help, right? uh, yes, there is a saying like even though you have all the wealth in the world, it cannot buy you happiness, right? It cannot buy you happiness. It may buy you some external happiness, but so for us to really be happy from uh, from the real happy, for us to be really happy, it must come from internal, right? It must come from our mind, it must come from our thinking of mind. So what meditation does is basically make you understand that what is happening, right? Make you understand what is happening, and yeah, true happiness. Make you under. If you really want to attain true happiness, then it must start from the internal, right? So when meditating, uh, what we are doing is trying to calm our mind, trying to control our mind, so that we are happy truly, right? Of course, we see some poor people being really happy, and sometimes we see the richest people having the most uh, unhappiness, right? So it points towards an inside problem that is causing us, uh, which causes the true happiness. So when we meditate, we are focusing on what our mind is doing, what our thinking of the world, impermanence, and so on. So it help us gain true happiness. Yes, meditation does that, right? When we focus too much on external stimuli, yeah, when we focus too much on external stimuli, as long as the external stimuli is there, we may feel happy, right? We may feel happy, but uh, if the external stimuli gets expired, or external stimuli gets reduced, then the happiness goes away. So if there is an internal stimuli that is making you happy, then you will remain happy. So that's the point of meditation. Why we must do meditation, right? So meditation helps us see our mistaken view, right? fundamentally mistaken view of reality, fundamentally mistaken view of how this world works, how our minds are working, right? So when we rely on the external stimuli, it will feel that the external stimuli, we put a what we call permanent, we put a permanent aspect to it, and we elevates its properties, and we get attached to it. And when that external stimuli gets expired or gets lost, then we become sad, we become unhappy, then we change, then we change our focus to another external stimuli to make us happy, right? So that happens. So when we focus on our inside, then it really helps us. It doesn't as it doesn't rely on the external stimuli, and our mind is always with us at all times. Then it will be more. It can generate more happiness. According to Buddhist texts, if you focus on the inner meditation, there is a long-lasting, stable happiness, right? So that comes from the inside, not from the external stimuli. So that's the reason why we must do meditation, right? That's the benefits of meditation. And of course, when we talk about the benefits of meditation, there are all these types of what we call religious benefits that we will gain from it, and there is also non-religious benefits, right? That's why in the West, a lot of people are adopting mindfulness meditation and so on, right? Even though the West, of course, in the developed countries, even though they have a lot of external luxury items, they are finding it that it's not creating happiness, it is creating stress, anxiety, depression, and so on. So they are trying to incorporate mindfulness meditation into their school curriculum and so on. So that shows a way that when we are faced with a hard situation and all, then the meditation practice really helps, right? And it helps our mental hygiene, as his holiness says it, right? These are the this is the meditation part. So there are two types of meditation that usually happen. So usually when we do meditation, there are two types of meditation that we should focus on, right? One is the placement meditation, and one is the analytical meditation, right? So uh, one is analytical meditation and one is the placement meditation. In previous, like when before Lama Tsongkhapa came and all, I think there was a misconception that analytical meditation and placement meditation, there is only placement meditation and there isn't analytical meditation. So when Lama Tsongkhapa came to Tibet, and when he was born and he composed and etc. like that, he has emphasized a lot on the analytical meditation being a meditation, right? So previously, because usually when we say meditation, we may think of like a one point focusing your mind on one thing and doing like that. But so Lama Tsongkhapa has emphasized that there are two types of meditation, and analytical meditation is a meditation, right? So what is analytical meditation? And what is placement meditation? And what are the differences between the two? So analytical meditation, we have been previously talking about it a lot in the impermanence, when we talked about impermanence. So when we practice impermanence, right? Firstly, to practice impermanence, or when we want to meditate on emptiness, all of this comes from this analytical meditation. So we have talked about it, right? Analytical meditation is basically analyzing what the reality is, what the phenomena is, right? Analyzing it and giving valid reasons for it, and refuting whatever types of doubts may arise, trying to find a valid reason for to refute that doubt or confirm that doubt, right? So that is analytical meditation. And what is placement meditation? Or placement meditation mostly focuses on one object, right? Focuses on one object only, and try to what we call have a clearer view of that object, right? So that is placement meditation and analytical meditation. For a beginner, I think. So in the Tibetan texts, right, there are a lot of debate of whether analytical meditation and placement meditation can coexist together. Can both come at the same time, right? So there are a lot of debates like that. So if you practice analytical meditation, then it's only analytical meditation. There's no placement meditation on that, right? There's a lot of debate like that. But if you look at the wording itself, it feels like placement and analytical. When you say placement meditation, it feels as if you are focusing on one focal object and just keeping your mind on that. And when you talk about analytical meditation, of course, you must think of many reasons, right? And you are shifting your focus from one reason to another reason to another reason. So it feels as if they cannot coexist together, right? So so for a beginner, I feel for a beginner it is really difficult for this two to come together, right? For these two to come together and coexist for a beginner. But after you become practice, then generally I think placement meditation and analytical meditation can come together for the more practiced ones, right? Right. So that's the thing. Yes. So that's the thing. And so of course you may have heard this term, right? Why do you need both? Why do you need analytical meditation and why do you need placement meditation? So we need both because there is a nice example in the Lamrim text, right? Uh, in the Lamrim text, it is written as an oil lamp, but for modern from a modern point of view, we can say like a flickering light, right? Flickering tube light. If the tube light is flickering and not clear, then we cannot read text, we cannot go about our work, right? And if there is a lot of flickering, right? If there is a lot of flickering, even though when it's not flickering, it's clear, and there is a lot of flickering, then we can't focus on the object. And even if it's too clear and not flickering, then it becomes difficult, right? So yes, I think I made the point here. I don't know, I got lost by the words. So there's the example in that, right? We need both because it's like we need a lamp to be both clear and unwavering by winds and all, for it to be clear. So that's the thing. So yes, I'll go to the questions later. There was one question from David Wing. I'll come back to it later. All right. So firstly, I'll just talk about it because I don't know how long this connection will last. So I'll just go about the teaching. Right. So rest. So that's the first point. That's the introduction to meditation, right? So there are two types of meditation: analytical and placement meditation. Placement meditation means you focus in your mind on one thing, and analytical meditation is basically giving reasons to whatever you think is real, whatever that is. So that are the two things. Yeah. So now the second point that I will talk about is how to prepare for meditation, right? So when we prepare for meditation, usually the obstacles that comes are like firstly we must think that when we prepare for meditation, firstly we must think of the benefits of meditation, right? Benefits of meditation, spiritual or mental or whatever, right? That I have given a brief example of how it benefits you. And like meditation, of course, if your mental stress is less, if you meditate, then of course your immune system get boosted, right? And so on. These are the types of that. So now again, there is one obstacle that prevents us from doing meditation, right? So even though if we know that there are benefits for doing meditation, we have this laziness, right? We have laziness, we have procrastination, and then we have excuses, lot of excuses like, today I have work, so I can't do meditation, right? So today I have some type of, I have to make some cake, so I can't do meditation. Today I have to make something and I can't do meditation, right? So we have a lot of excuses for that. So firstly, I think this all comes from not reflecting enough on the suffering part, right? If you reflect a lot of on the suffering part, right, where the liberating, wanting to liberate part, then uh, these types of thinking will get reduced. But as a practical case, right now during this situation, pandemic that we are in, we are right now in our homes, and of course some of you may be going to work, but most of us are in our homes, right? And so we have no excuse that we have a lot of work, right? If you find a little bit of work in everything, then the work won't end. It is important that you prioritize something over other, right? So that's one thing. And right now is a great timing for you to do meditation. It's because you have a lot of time, right? And uh, laziness and procrastination usually, laziness and procrastination usually comes together, right? We are procrastinating because we are lazy to do it, right? So laziness, one of the things is reflecting upon suffering and so on, and doing that. And the other is we make a daily routine, right? We make a habit of during from this time till this time I will do meditation no matter what comes, right? Making a habit out of it, right? There was a nice book that I read. I can't. Oh, the Atomic Habits, maybe. Yeah, this English book, right? Uh, these are the types that we can make it into our daily routine, right? Like for 5 minutes from after maybe whatever time that is comfortable for you. For 5 minutes, I will meditate, right? Whatever situation I am in. So if you try to make it as a daily routine, then the laziness and the procrastination generally goes down. Of course, if how much ever busy you are, you may find 5 minutes, 1 minute, 2 minutes, whatever the time frame. When we think about atomic, yeah, thanks Ivan, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Yeah, this is a good book actually. Yeah. So yeah, that's how we build habits, right? We build habits. Once we build a habit, if we don't do it, then it feels as if we have missed out on something, right? So we have to incorporate it into our daily routine, and slow as we do it for a long time, it generally becomes our habit, and we don't feel the need for procrastination and to procrastinate it, right? So that's the thing. And also like if you are having problems because you live in a large household with a lot of family members, and you are not getting because of the noisiness, you are not being able to meditate, then maybe you can get up earlier. You get up earlier before they wake up, or try to find a time when there is not much noise and etc. like that, right? So these are one of the meditation. Also, like in the Atomic Habits, there's an expert, I mean, not an expert, except there's a quote from Shantideva's text, The Way of Bodhisattva, right? Which is like this: if you practice, there isn't anything in this world that won't get easy, right? I'm not quoting the exact stanza, but I'm just trying to translate the Tibetan into English right now, and just giving it to you. Yeah. So if you practice, there is not a phenomena in the world that won't get easy, right? So according to that, if you incorporate meditation, 5 minutes, 1 minute, whatever minutes that you get for daily, put a reminder on your phone. Yeah, you can use our phones to put reminders, right? We usually put reminders for our work and etc. like that. Then why not put a reminder for doing meditation for some type of minutes in our phone, right? Alarm, if you may, right? So these are the ways that we could use technology also to help us meditate, right? So that's the thing. Yes, that's the second point of how to prepare for meditation, right? And the prepare for meditation, for preparation for meditation, really, if you want to really meditate properly, the preparation for meditation also comes from good ethics, right? When you have good ethics, uh, your meditation generally will be good, right? So it is nearly impossible to have a good meditation without a good ethics, right? Good ethics. So when we indulge in a lot of bad ethics and indulge in a lot of bad non-virtuous things, it has become our habit. It is already our habit, right? So it becomes more elevated when we indulge in those things too much. We become more. The habit becomes more elevated. So when it becomes elevated, so it becomes more harder to meditate, of course, right? Because when we talk about non-virtues, like killing, of course the killing is a virtue, that thinking about angriness angry angriness angriness and wanting something, and all of this non-virtuous mental factors and non-virtuous deeds that we do, it types of becomes a habit. And uh, that when we try to meditate and sit in one position and try to focus our mind in one position, we think of, if we gossip too much, and if we gossip too much, then maybe when we try to meditate, every type of gossip comes to our mind, right? Instead of the meditation object, every types of gossip comes to our mind. Yeah, that's, it becomes our habit, so it becomes incorporated in our lives, that it will create problems when you meditate. So having good ethics is really important for you to have a good meditation. Yes. So when we are indulging in bad non-virtuous things, we are indulging whatever without vigilant introspection and without mindfulness, right? Without mindfulness. So when we indulge too much upon these things, then it becomes like we are indulging when we indulge too much in these things, then it becomes a habit, and the mindfulness, our capacity to, of course it doesn't get reduced, but it gets more, what we call, de-elevated. Yes, I'm making new words up myself. Yes, so it becomes more de-elevated, and our vigilant introspection becomes de-elevated, right? So when we practice good ethics, on the contrary, if we practice good ethics, then we must be mindful of what we are doing, right? What we are doing, and whether when we are trying to do bad things, the vigilant introspection always has to focus whether we are doing the right or good thing. So in a way, that is also a type of meditation. Refraining from doing bad non-virtuous things and doing good virtuous things, that is a meditation of mindfulness and vigilant introspection. If we indulge too much in the non-virtuous things, then this too gets lessened, right? The capacity to generate it naturally gets lessened. And if we do get good ethics, we are practicing mindfulness. We must be mindful of what we are doing, and we must have a vigilant introspection of what we are doing. So of course mindfulness and vigilant introspection gets elevated. So when we do meditation, of course these two are the main things that always need to be there, right, when we meditate. So of course you all may know what the 10 non-virtuous and the 10 virtues of the body, speech, mind, right? So I won't give much examples about that. And so I will go down to the main part, right? The main part of meditation, right? So what is meditation? So main part of meditation, there are different types of meditation. Most of them come into the two basic: placement meditation and the analytical meditation, right? So there are a lot of meditations, like from the tantric point of view, guru meditation, breathing meditation, impermanence meditation, and meditating about all the world being full of bones and so on, right? And some of the meditation, of course. Yes. So there are a lot of meditations like this. So first, today for the today's topic about meditation, we will be going on to breathing meditation and some other meditation, and maybe a little bit of impermanence and giving and taking and emptiness meditation, right? So maybe I'll go through this. So firstly, when you talk about breathing meditation, there are a lot of different types of breathing meditation, right? A lot of different types of the ones that are mentioned in the tantric texts, the breathing meditation that are mentioned in the tantric texts, which of course I don't know that much about. And there are meditations that are mentioned in the sutric text, like the Abhidharma and so on, right? So I'll be talking about the sutra one. So firstly, what is the benefit of doing breathing meditation? Mm, Let me give you an example, right? All right. If you are feeling a lot of anxiety, and if you are feeling like angry or something, if you just take a deep breath, right? Take a deep breath, inhale and exhale deeply. It feels relieving. Anxiety, whether you are anxiety, depressed, sad, if you just take a deep breath, inhale and exhale, right? It just gives you a type of relief, right? It just gives you a type of relief. When we feel depression or anxiety, we are feeling squeezed, right? We feel squeezed from the inside. We feel really put down. And so when we do breathing meditation, it reduces that, right? It reduces that and so on. These are It reduces stress and it reduces anxiety. So these are the benefits of breathing meditation. And when we see, of course, when you do breathing meditation, what is the focus of the breathing meditation, and what is how must we do it, right? How must we practice it? So firstly, okay, firstly, when you do breathing meditation, the the focus is our breath, right? The focus is our breath, which goes from our nostrils, right? Which we breathe. The focus is the wind, and how it enters our body, and how we exhale. Right. The focus must be on the air and the breath. So there is this easy type of breathing meditation where we just focus on the breath and just inhale and exhale, right? Inhale and exhale, and being mindful of how the air is coming in and how the air is coming out, right? So yes, that's the thing. uh, 1 minute, okay? Yes. uh, that's the thing. These are the meditations that this is the easy way that we could do it, right? Yes. Is the life coming? Yes. Is the life coming? Yes. Can anyone give me an answer? Is the life coming? I don't know. I hope it's coming. Is it coming? Yes. Okay. Because yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, so okay, now I'll come. I'll go to that. So there is this easy breathing. There's this easy breathing meditation. Easy breathing meditation that we can do, right? Easy breathing meditation. Just focus on our breath and just being mindful of how it enters our body and how it from how we exhale it, right? So that's the easy way of doing the breathing meditation, right? Staying in a posture, closing your eyes, and just focusing on how the air flows from the nose to the insides of your body, right? Just focusing on that. That is the easy way of doing a breathing meditation. So in the Abhidharma text, if you go more little bit of more complex and more specific about how to do it, so uh, it is type of written that there are six stages or six states of advice that the Buddhist texts have that the others don't, right? So the six states are counting, monitoring, fixing, investigating, transforming, and fully purifying, right? For the breathing practice. So when we say counting, it is counting mentally, right? When we say counting, it's counting mentally. So I'm going into a little bit of more complex breathing meditation. So when we say counting, it's counting mentally, right? Exactly to 10, not more than that. Inhale and exhale 10 times, right? Counting inhale and exhale 1, inhale and exhale 2, like that, right? So that is another way of doing it, exactly to 10. The reason why it's giving exactly 10 is because if it's more than 10, then it may create excitement, and if it is less than 10, it may create laxity, right, of dullness. So exactly 10. So this type of number counting is not in other scriptures, as it's said in the Abhidharma text, right? So the problems that we have while doing this, right? There are three types of problems when we count. We must count mentally, not from the mouth, not making a sound. And I heard that in tantric texts, when we count breathing, the breathing must be slow. Breathing must be slow, and breathing must be not so making sound, like when we snore we make that type of sound, right? It's just a small slow breathing, right? Normal natural breathing, right? And deep, it's a deep breath. So when counting, right, when counting, we must count exactly exactly 10, right? Counting one inhale and exhale as 2 is a mistake, and counting 2 inhale and exhale as 1 is a mistake. And another, mistaking inhalation for exhalation and exhalation for inhalation, that is a mistake. So basically, without all these mistakes, counting is just counting how your breathing goes till 10, and just focusing on counting till 10, focusing on inhalation and exhalation, right? 10, and just rest for some time. Oh, stuff. There is no sound. Yes, Valerie Sam is saying there is no sound. Is there no sound? Can you hear me? Yes. Is there no sound? Okay, Valerie. Yes. Okay. So sound is working, I think. Valerie. I don't know what's the problem. Yes. Yeah, people are saying sound is okay, Valerie. So it may be from your side, not from my side. Okay, so that's the thing. That's the counting part, right? So second is fixing. Second is monitoring. So this is a complex breathing practice, right? So if you also practice in the breathing practice, you can just do the easy one, which I said. Just focus, being mindful of how your breath enters you and how it how you are exhaling it, right? You just focus on that. But if you are more if you want to go more complex into the breathing practice, you can go through this monitoring. So when the second, so as we said, there are 6 types of that, and 6 type of states that we can go through. One is counting. The counting we have gone through, right? And when we meditate, we must do that, right? So fixing. Sorry, monitoring. Monitoring is when we inhale, right? When we inhale, thinking or feeling as it each reaches from the nostrils to the esophagus. I don't know what's this called. Something esophagus, right? Yeah. So to the throat. Okay. So basically, I'll just from the nostrils to the throat to the heart, then to the navel and the waist and thighs and calves to your feet soles, right? Okay, so monitoring is when we inhale, we feel the air, we feel the wind entering from our nostrils, we visualize as if it is entering we feel and think as if it's entering from our nostrils to our throat, to our heart, to our navel, then to our calves, thighs, calves, waist, thighs, calves, and feet soles, right? So it is basically from how it's going into till your feet soles, right? And if you're okay, so when we think of that, right? So fixing as that, right? So when we do inhaling, if your breath is strong, then we focus on it going for as long as an arm span, right? It going as fast as an arm span. And if your breath is not so deep, we can focus it by going as a finger span, which is this much, right? So that is the inhaling. And exhaling, when we exhale, thinking as if the air is coming from our feet soles to our feet soles to our calves, to thighs, to waist, to navel, to heart, to throat, and then to our nostrils, right? And when we inhale again, visualizing and thinking as if, feeling as if it's going from there, right? So these are the things that this is the fixing, sorry, monitoring. And fixing is fixing is like when you visualize thinking as if there is a connection from the nostrils to the first strokes, right? Foot soles. Thinking as if there is a thread of jewels from your nostrils to your throat, to your heart, to your navel, to waist, thighs, calves, and foot soles. Like there is a thread connecting all of them, and the air passing through it, right? So, so the fourth, investigating, transforming, and fully purifying. This three is a little bit more complicated, so I won't be talking that much of it. So it goes more into analytical meditation. So if you want to practice, then investigating whether the air is something that is inherent of nature and so on. So it gets into a more this what we call emptiness thing, right? So I won't be talking about much about this tree. So that's the thing, guys. So fully purifying. So that's the breathing meditation. So that's how we can do breathing meditation. And so next we talk about the samatha meditation, right? Samatha meditation. And samatha meditation, firstly, before practicing samatha meditation, breathing, usually what we do is before samatha meditation, what we do is we practice the breathing meditation for a beginner, right? For a beginner, because like in if we are if we are what do we call, I forgot the word. Yes. Oh yeah, yeah. Firstly, before we practice samatha meditation, we must check ourselves. What type of afflictive emotion is more natural to us, right? If we have anger, then we must practice compassion. If we have more of the what we call dullness, we must practice uh, what we call clear light and so on. And if we have more like thinking too much, right? Thinking too much, like one thought comes up, we have a lot of thought process. If one thought comes after another, then we must practice the breathing meditation, right? So and so on. So after that we can start the samatha meditation. When we talk about samatha meditation, yeah, jealousy, right? Yeah, when we talk about samatha meditation, uh, when we are jealous, when we are jealous and we have a lot of thought process, we must practice this breathing meditation. And when we have a lot of pride, and we are prideful of others, think of what you don't know, right? Meditate on what you don't know. These are the things I don't know. I only know a fraction of a thing that people know. And desire, if you have a lot of desire, then we have to practice practicing the whole world being full of holes. Something that's not good. Yeah, so that's that. After that we can start the samatha meditation. So when we practice samatha meditation, the object of the samatha meditation, okay, so I'll just go through this. The object of the meditation differs a lot, right? Differs a lot. Some you can just put anything as an object of meditation, right? But as we are practicing to become more, uh, what do we call, more practicing the workings of the mind, then we do, uh, yes, okay. So when we do that type of meditation, then when we do meditation, our focus should be something that makes us happy, right? If we focus on our enemies and do meditation, it will just generate anger. So what we usually do is we focus on something, a statue of a Buddha or so on, right? That is the object of samatha meditation. And when we do samatha meditation, the first stages as a beginner, as a beginner. So there was this, whenever I say beginner or something, there's this video that comes to our mind where this guy is reading in the beginning, right? So it's really funny. He cannot pronounce beginning and beginning, so that comes to our mind, and I generally feel funny. But so yes, when we the object of meditation should be uh, a statue of Buddha or your guru, of course. Yes, and when we do that type of meditation, first meditation, of course, if you have a natural, clear focus meditation, focus of the meditation, then of course you can generate practice straight away. But if you don't have that, and if you when you try to focus on something, the statue, then it doesn't come clear as possible, then first of course uh, we try to focus on the face and focus on the hands and focus on the whole body and so on. Then generally, if you are able to, even though not see super clear, but a type of little bit of clearer than previously, then we focus on that, right? And if you are if this really matters a lot when we try to when we meditate. If we change our object from one to another and another, then it just makes us more, what we call, not mindful of being that, right? So it is important that whatever type of, if you are focusing on a yellow statue or yellow or whatever color, then the color must remain the same throughout all of your meditation. And if you are meditating on a certain size, then the size must remain the exact, right? Exact, mostly the mostly exact during all of the meditation. So that is the object of meditation, and how you should choose the object, and you should not change the object, right? So when we meditate upon it, generally two types of problems comes, right? When we meditate upon it, there is one that there is clarity, and there is not that strong feeling of that meditating, right? So what generally two problems comes is laxity and excitement. So we ask the question, what is laxity, what is excitement? So laxity is when we meditate, we feel dull, right? We feel dull, and it feels as if everything is closing down. It goes darker and darker and darker and darker, right? So that's a type of laxity. So if you literally translate the Tibetan version, which is called Qinghua into English, it just means drowning, right? When you feel the drowning sensation, when you meditate upon something, then you feel a drowning sensation, right? In the English, of course, it's written as laxity, but it's that type of sensation, right? So that's the thing. It's type of drowsiness, and it's type of feeling the you getting more and more consumed by the black type of feeling. Yeah. So when you meditate upon an object, if there is, of course for a beginner it is really hard to not have laxity from the first practice, right? Not have laxity and not have excitement. But even though we have laxity, we must practice with it, right? We must practice with it, even though we have the gross laxity. So when we practice with it, then generally whenever laxity comes, we must be mindful of uh, knowing that, have vigilant introspection and mindful of knowing that laxity has come, and to reduce that laxity, try to think of a clear light, right? Clear light, or something that is clear, right? And when we have that's the remedy for laxity. And when you have excitement, then we get our minds gets from one step to another, right? So when you're focusing on an object, if another type of thought occurs, right? If another type of thought occurs, and then another type of thought will occur, then another type of thought will occur. So it will just create a train of thought that takes you away from the focus, right? So this is the gross excitement. Of course, the subtle excitement we won't be able to recognize. It's really hard. It is really hard to recognize that. So when we have the excitement, it is again the mindfulness and the vigilant introspection comes into play, right? We must be mindful of whether we are having excitement or not, and when that excitement arises and your mind is going to waver from your focal object to another type of thinking, you must catch it. You must catch it with your mindfulness and your vigilant introspection, and try to focus it back, and take the focus back on the focal object, right? And of course there are remedies about thinking about if you get too excited, thinking about impermanence and so on will make your mind less excited, right? So these are the remedies, right? So in the beginning, yes, as in the beginning, it's just really hard for a beginner to start without uh, laxity and excitement, right? So even as a beginner, if you have laxity for 1 minute, maybe 1 minute, or even how much ever you can, right? How much ever you can try to focus, even for some few seconds, try to focus on that object, right? And if you feel as if your mind is wavering around, and if you feel as if your that is the focal object is getting darker and feeling like dull, then just stop your that and try to meditate on other things, right? So generally, as we feel we know what is the excitement and causing laxity is causing, then we will be able to practice more and more, and generally your time span of practicing the mindfulness, some of the meditation will improve, right? And of course, there are like 8 antidotes, right? So one of the faults is laziness, and one of the faults, of course, is one of the faults is laziness, and one of the fault is, of course, laxity and excitement. And when the laxity and excitement arises, and if you are still meditating, then that is one of the faults. And when you forget, when you forget the instructions, right? When you forget the instruction, that is one fault. So I think we 4 faults, right? And when you don't have laxity and excitement, if you are not meditating, that is one of the faults of uh, meditating on samatha, right? If you are meditating and these 5 faults about laziness and forgetfulness of the instructions, and laxity and excitement, and when laxity arises, if you are still laxity or excitement arise, you are still practicing, that is one of the faults. And if laxity and excitement doesn't arise, and if you are not uh, meditating, then that is a fault, right? So these are the 5 faults. So there are 8 remedies, which is basically the 8 remedies are basically 4 for laziness, which is confidence, yearning for liberation, effort, and ability. Yes, yes, that's other things. So the remedy for forgetfulness is mindfulness, right? Forgetfulness is mindfulness, and yes, vigilant introspection, and so on, and intent of wanting to do that, right? Yes, and for when the laxity and this arises, knowing that this has arisen, and when the uh, laxity and excitement hasn't arisen, then just putting your not doing vigilant introspection and not doing mindfulness, but just meditating on the focal object. So this is the what do we call the first stages of samatha meditation, right? Generally, when you get more, then there are the nine mental states that develop, right? That develop slowly. One is mental placement, which is the beginning side where you place your mind, focus of your mind on the object. Then there is that continuous placement after that. The continuous placement is you are able to do for a longer period of time, right? So after that, patched placement, which literally means after you place your focus on the object, then if you know that it's going excited or dullness, then just stopping the what we call meditation there, and trying to reduce the excitement and laxity, and again going to after that that has been reduced, then again meditating on the object, right? Then of course, I want to go through all of these nine mental states. It's mentioned in the London text that maybe you can read it, right? As we don't have much time about it. So these are the things that you could some other practice that you should practice, right? So yes, close pavement is close placement. Yes, close placement is whenever something arises, laxity or excitement arises, you being able to recognize it and just being able to eliminate it at that point of time, right? So that is close placement, and taming is, yes, you being able to tame and being able to focus more. Yeah, so that's the thing. Of course, as you grow, as we become more and more practice, then of course we'll reach the eighth stage and the ninth stage, which is one point. We being able to focus on one point for long periods of time, right? So these are the things that you could do when we do practice some of the practice. Of course, there are a lot of like before you do that, you could do um, like posture and etc like that, right? So these are the how you can this is how you can do the some of the practice. And after that, after some of the practice, yes, these are the most important ones that firstly, the most important one is that usually we think that, okay, am I mistake being afraid of making a mistake, right? And just not doing it, right? When you do it, then try to analyze whether laxity and excitement is arising too much, and exciting is arising too much or not, and read the text and try to generally improve, right? And ask your teachers or friends or Dhamma friends, right? And doing it. The general problem we have is we fear that if we make a mistake, then the practice won't be perfect, right? There is a saying, I think, if you always wait for perfection, then you won't be able to do anything, right? That's the thing. Everything can't be perfect, right? Yeah, we can hope that it would be perfect, but it's really hard to be perfect for perfectionist. Yes, that's the thing. So for a beginner, you must start the meditation with the gross dullness and excitement we have, but not get too excited or too dulled by the meditation, but try to analyze the dullness is arising, and try to analyze when the excitement is arising, and try to eliminate it at that point of time. Generally, as we practice, we would get more that practice, right? So one of the problems that we have, we may before we practice, we are impatient that we want results so fast, right? We want results so fast that after we do a month's practice, or if we do a 2 days 3 days practice, we want the results exactly after that. That's the problem that we have. So we must know that meditation practice is long-term practice, and we cannot accept uh, accept uh, accept fast contribution, fast effect from it arising fast, right? So that's the thing. So that's the some other meditation. So now we talked about uh, some other meditation and breathing meditation. Both of these meditations are one place meditation, right? Meditation, like a placement meditation. You focus on one thing and it remains as one, right? So breathing meditation during this time will help you reduce anxiety and so on. And mindfulness and meditation would help you feel mindful and so on. So samatha meditation, right? When you are doing samatha meditation, actually you are doing mindfulness meditation. Mindful, when we say mindful, we must be uh, you we can practice it anytime. Of course there is the mindfulness meditation of phenomena, feeling, and four types of mindfulness meditation, right? I can't remember the exact terms. So there are four types of mindfulness meditation. First, focusing on your body, feeling, mind, yeah, so and so on. So focusing on your mind, body, like how it is feeling and etc. like that. But mindfulness meditation, generally we can do it easily, like even in the even when we are doing the 10 non-virtuous deeds and 10 virtuous deeds, we are practicing mindfulness, right? We are practicing mindfulness. So that's the thing. Yes. So I can't remember the form for this is the mindfulness. You can focus on your body and yeah, body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. Yeah, thank you. Body, feeling, mind, and phenomena. These are the four mindfulness practice. Like you can focus on your body and like how it is feeling and so on. This is the four mindfulness practice, right? Of course, it doesn't need to be as complicated as that. You can just be mindful of what you are doing at the moment and so on. So this is a mindfulness practice, right? Generally, if you become more mindful, you will be able to be more careful of doing non-virtuous deeds and so on, right? Yes, so that's the thing. And so after that, I want you to talk a little bit, I think, about giving and taking, the more advanced, right, the advanced stage of meditation, which is the giving and taking meditation, and giving and taking meditation, and emptiness meditation, right? So for the giving and taking meditation, uh, oh, the text that I generally know is about the Lama Chopa text, Guru Tso text, right? So in that, there's one stanza, one quote that is written like, uh, "Dear Guru," right? I'll just explain the words. Dear Guru, uh, dear compassionate Guru, right? May all the living beings suffering come to me, and may all of my happiness and uh, good pleasure go to them, and all of them be happy and perform good deeds, right? So that's the practice of Tonglen, or which is giving and taking, right? So when we practice that, of course, you need to be a more advanced, right? You have to be practicing compassion, and you have to be a little bit of practiced in you must know how to practice compassion and bodhicitta, right? So if you have that type of thing, and you can have the compassionate, what do we call, yeah, the field of offering of all the gurus, then of course, if you think like that, it is good, right? So when we think of that, firstly we must, when we talk about practicing giving and taking, firstly you must be able to practice bodhicitta of changing one with others, right? And thinking us as the same other, and that should be that as I talked in this session of compassion. Yes, it is Tonglen. Yes, it is Tonglen, and I'll just give a slight practice, slight, right? Not so that, but after you have generated all of these fields, then so you think of all the living beings being surrounded, you being surrounded by all of the living beings, and so thinking that I would be able to give, I'm giving all of my happiness and all of my good virtue to them, and not taking away all of their sickness and suffering for them. When we practice this, the general feeling, or the feeling of worry that we may have is, I'm not practiced, I cannot even take my own suffering, how can I take all of these students, all of this, not students, sorry, all of the living beings suffering, right? Then when we think of that, the thinking we must do is, till now, till now, till the countless rebirths that uh, we have, we have wasted our life for a long time. Like, we have suffered nonsense. We have suffered for nonsense things, right? We have suffered for money. We have suffered for small things like that. But if we are able to suffer for sake of other living beings, then of course I accept it with happiness, right? So if you think like that, it will help you be more courageous about practicing this, right? So so when we don't have this type of thinking, when we have this type of thinking, if you are not practiced, of course you will have this type of thinking. So first, if you having fear of not being able to take all of their suffering, then first just like, you can think of taking first as a practice for the mind. You can think of taking your own suffering, like previous suffering, future suffering, right now, right, to upon yourself. May the future suffering come onto myself, and the present happiness go to the future, right? You can think like that. Then generally, as you are able to accept the future suffering to upon yourself, then towards your mother, or towards somebody who is really close to you, right? May uh, may they be, may all my happiness and all of that go to them, and all of their sickness come to me, and generally expand the circle, right? As you get more and more practice, then that's this. Then when you think of that, when you think of giving all of your happiness and good things to the persons, right? Then it is like this. So you think of your all of your mother beings being in front of you, and uh, then from your, yes, yes, so from your nostrils, yeah, yes, left or right. I have a problem with direction. I can't say, I can't know which is left and which is right. So generally, you breathe from one nostril, right? One hole of the nose to inside, and think when you're breathing this, think of all of the suffering of your mother's coming in from the nostril, and when you breathe out, think as if your all of your happiness and good virtue are going to the mothers, right? And when you practice like that, and as we inhale from one nostril, then think that uh, the living beings or your mothers having become really happy, right? And when uh, you give them the happiness, they become more happy, right? So slowly expand the circle and to a more general being. So this is the of course, if you go more complex, it is we can go more complex, but as we don't have that much of a time, that's the thing that we could talk about. And when practicing about emptiness, right? When we practice about emptiness, we can meditate upon our emptiness. Firstly, the analytical meditation is important, right? When we do analytical meditation on emptiness, you analyze whether the being as being, whether the self or the phenomena as being inherent or not. You analyze and think of many reasons, like the dissecting analytical reasoning, and so on. And after that, all of that has happened, then you feel as if, okay, now nothing is inherent of nature, and if you really feel strong, then put your placement mind on that, right? So if you do like that, then of course you are practicing emptiness from an analytical point of view. And when you reach a certain type of guarantee that it's like that, then you are on the placement meditation, right? You can do the placement meditation on that. So that is the so that's all for today. I think, yes, I think I've talked a lot. I got engrossed in talking that I keep talking, right? So that's the thing. So I think I'll stop here and take the questions. Yes, take the questions. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them. And firstly, I would go through the questions that had come previously. Yes. How do we differentiate analytical versus monkey mind, right? Analytical versus mind is a little bit different. Analytical mind. So analytical meditation is you not analyzing, like how much money will I get if I do this. The question is from David Woon, right? How much money will I get if I do this? That's not the type of analytical meditation. The analytical meditation we are talking here is about, is this thing impermanent? What are the reasons of it being impermanent? That type of analytical meditation, right? So, of course, it's different from monkey mind. Monkey mind is when we talk about the monkey, our mind as being like monkey. It's like we let our thoughts wander wherever it goes, right? It's like no control upon it. That's the difference between the analytical and monkey mind. So yes, that was the one question. Now where's the other question? Would meditating be considered as a similar chanting? Yes, you can think in a way like that. I didn't get the say more. Yeah, I didn't get that question properly. Yes, but it can be, meditation can be like chanting mantra, right? Yes. Okay, so after that, okay, so GSDPL has asked a question. We raise a during meditation, should our mouth remain all the time? Yes. If you are opening your mouth, that generally means you are sleeping, right? Yes. For me, when I sleep, I tend to open my mouth. I notice that, right? So yes, you can close your mouth or open your mouth, but not like full mouth open, but like how much ever it's open, whichever feel comfortable to you. That the most important is to uh, have a, what we call, comfortable feeling, right? Yes. When we want to combine meditation practice with our long study in practical horoscope, what would the best type of lower scope study, right? So the best type of meditation for the lower scope is mostly lower scope. If you think about it, contemplating on the karma and its doing so, mostly will be analytical plus placement meditation, right? Both are there, in the meditation, but mostly it will be more focused on the analytical, right? Because we are focusing on how it's working, right? So that's the thing for the lower scope. Thank you. Thank you, Alan Shen. Yes. So, any other questions? Yeah, I think this that's Alan Shen was the last question that we received. Let me think. Let me see. Okay. Okay. So, Alan Shen. Uh, yes. This is Tony. Okay. Where is that? I can't find. Oh, yes. Alan Shen's question. When we want to combine meditation practice with our language study, yes, the lower scope, analytical, and placement meditation both is there. And what is the recommended duration for beginners, right? The recommended duration differs for each. If you can do, differs for each and every beginner, right? Even if we are, all of us are a beginner, and uh, there are different types of duration that but the duration usually is, if you are doing some other practice, if you are able to focus without laxity and excitement, uh, uh, until that laxity and excitement arises, right, then till that time the duration is that, right? So yes, so Chi Chu Yip has asked, can we chant and meditate at the same time? Yes, if you are a practitioner, then of course you can chant. If you are able to chant and visualize at the same time, then of course you can, right? So for a beginner, I think it may be a little bit hard to chant and meditate, right? But when we are chanting, if you are meditating on each and every meaning of the that, then that's also good enough, right? We can chant and meditate at the same time. So I think that's the last question that came up, right? So yes. Yes, thank you so much for attending this Facebook Live. I think it's been almost 1.5 hours, and thank you so much for attending. And I hope that this session was beneficial to you all, and I hope that it may have helped you. It may have helped you gain a certain type of insight into whatever type of meditation you are interested in. So as a dedication, and as a we hope that you will. I hope that all of the pandemic situation will end soon, and all of the sentient beings may attain happiness and so on, right? And thank you all for enjoying the 4 sessions where I'm talking nonsense, basically. Yes, yes, thank you so much. Yes, yes. So I'll be ending the Facebook Live, and I hope to see you again soon. Yes. Okay. So I think yes. I think okay. So Tashidile for everybody, and yes, goodbye.